Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about what is a slow flip in real estate. Is this a strategy that you can even do? Well, by the end of this video, I will explain the slow flip strategy, and I'll even share with you some of the exact slow flip strategies that I'm doing right now in this current market when it comes to real estate investing. Have you ever felt like some of the current economic or market conditions put a damper on your real estate investing strategies? Have they ever stalled your real estate investing game? If that resonates with you, then maybe slow flips are exactly what the doctor ordered when it comes to your real estate investing game. So let's dive into the strategy of slow flips by first explaining exactly what they are. Next, I'll explain how they can be an incredible strategy in today's economy. And finally, I will cover the exact strategies I'm doing right now. If you're ready, let's go. So what is a slow flip? Well, it might be one of the coolest strategies out there in real estate right now. A slow flip is when you purchase a property at a low price, just like a traditional flip. You're purchasing at a very low price, creating a win-win for the seller and you as the buyer. You're solving a solution. You're not transactional with them. And then you're turning around and you're selling that property, but instead of selling it and receiving the money, you're selling it and you are becoming the bank. And you're using money from a private money lender to purchase the property outright, and you're selling it to somebody, like I said, over a long period of time on a traditional mortgage over 30 years. Now, if interest rates in today's economy are at 7, you're probably selling to them at an interest rate at 8.5, because the reason they're buying it from you versus a bank or getting a traditional loan is because they might not be able to at the given moment, and you're providing a solution from them where they don't have to put as much money down, they don't have to go to the bank and get it, and they can live there as if it were their home. And the goal is to take the money that you're selling it to them at. Now, an important part of that is if you're buying it here, you're selling it here and you're selling it at that higher price because that's probably what the market was, and you're selling it here because that's maybe what it was even listed for when you first got it. Because an interesting element when it comes to slow flips is you've got to get it well below what they're asking or well below market price. So if somebody's looking for selling a piece of property at say $70,000, $80,000, you've got to get that property for about 30 or 40% lower than what they're asking. And in this strategy, when it comes to slow flips, we are looking for properties that are between $30,000 and $80,000. And you might say, where in the world are you finding properties between $30,000 to $80,000? I was just on Zillow yesterday looking in other markets. I've traditionally been in the Midwest, but I started looking in Texas, even Louisiana, and there are properties that you can find. Now, the goal is to buy a property that is move-in ready. Now, there might be some things that need to be fixed, but nothing drastic, right? It doesn't need to be completely redone. Matter of fact, a lot of these homes that I've bought have actually had a renter in there. And one of them, I went and said, listen, I'm purchasing this property, you're renting it, and how would you like to own it? Matter of fact, your payment to own the property is gonna be just a little bit less than what you're paying in rent right now. What do you think that person's gonna say? Absolutely, let's move forward. The first question is like, how much do I have to put down as a down payment? And I said to them, $1,000. They got their deposit back and were able to utilize that as the down payment. It's an awesome strategy when it comes to investing in real estate. So I'm gonna tie this all together with a quick example. Let's just say that there's a property that's listed at $75,000, $80,000. Let's say listed at 80, and you ask $50,000 for it. I've had people just say, I'm not even gonna respond to that, but somebody will come back and say, you know what, I'll give it to you for $67,000. And I come back lower, 52, 53, and eventually we get to a spot, let's say that I purchase it for 55, right? That private money loan that I'm getting, I'm purchasing it with cash. My goal is to pay this hard money lender or this private money lender back within 5 to 8 years. Now, they're gonna charge me a higher interest rate because it's private money, but I've been fortunate to find people that have given it to me at just below 10 or at 10%. And I'm selling this property, not at 55, but I'm turning around and I'm selling it to somebody at $75,000 or $80,000. So $20,000, $25,000 more than what I purchased it for. And I'm giving them a loan, right, with a little money down and at an interest rate that's higher than the current market by at least 1.5 or 2 percentage points higher. So the goal is the money I receive from them in their mortgage is paying my monthly payment to my private money lender, and the payments with my private money lender are broken down to be over a 5 or 6 or 7 year period of time. Now, to understand that, I usually have 2 mortgage calculators pulled up on my computer so I can enter an amortization over 5 years versus one over 30 years so I can get those payments to match up pretty well. And the overall is to have a little bit of wiggle room on the payment that I receive that's a little bit higher on the payment that I make to my private money lender. And one other important element when you're doing a slow flip, it's not a traditional real estate purchase and sales agreement, it's a land contract. The buyer of the home from you takes possession of the property and makes payments over a period of time to you as the seller. You are the bank. And the buyer is responsible for everything, the property taxes, the maintenance, the insurance. And you as the mortgage holder, as the lender, you're not responsible for everything, but the relationship, if they were to stop making payments between you and the person who's buying the home from you, is one that you can almost act like you are a landlord, where you can evict this person from the property rather than foreclosing on it. And that is a key element when it comes to doing slow flips. And I know a lot of times people will say, well, man, if you're selling it to them and you're the bank and they stop making payments and you evict them, do they really own the home, right? They do. I mean, if you ask anybody, if you were to ask me, say, hey, do you own your home? I'd say yes. But guess what? If I stop making payments for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, we'll really find out who really owns the home, right? The bank's going to come in and take possession of that, right? Even though I say that I own it, if there's a loan on it, the person who holds that loan really is the owner of the home, because they can take possession of it if payments aren't made. Now let's talk about why this is such a good strategy in today's economy. Well, first off, with slow flips, we're not worried about traditional financing. So no matter what's happening out there with interest rates, with all the stringent rules that come with getting a loan, we don't have to worry about any of that, because we are looking to have a private money lender that lends us the money at a little bit higher interest rate, where we can buy the home outright and then we finance it to somebody where we're the bank. So traditional financing out the door. Here's another important element in today's economy, right? So interest rates are high, home prices are high. That spells disaster for a lot of people wanting to try and get a home. A lot of people are sitting on the sidelines saying, I'm going to wait for interest rates to come down before I buy a home. But people always need a place to live, and people would prefer to live in a home in an area that they can call their home or their neighborhood. So if they can't buy a home, chances are they're going to rent. And if people are renting, a lot of times those people, if they're in that area, could be a great candidate to actually buy a home if they could get into it without traditional financing and get into it at a reasonable cost and something that meets their needs. And that slow flip strategy gives you the best of both worlds, where you can act as a landlord if they stop making payments and evict them, but you don't have the landlord responsibilities. You don't have to worry about the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance on the property. Because of the land contract, the person that comes in and buys that home under land contract, it is their home. They're treating it as if they were the home. Exactly, if I were to have a home that I own, or if you were to have a home that you own, you're going to handle all the maintenance and everything associated with that home. There is no landlord in your mind, right? But that land contract, the stipulation that allows you to evict them, is crucial. All right, so I'm going to break it down for you exactly what I'm doing. First off, I'm going to websites like Zillow or other sites that have homes for sale, and I'm looking for homes that are between $30,000 to $80,000. Now, once I have those parameters and filters on, I'm pulling up all these homes. I will then go to some form of crime data online where I can compare the area that I'm looking at with crime in that area. And there's a lot of great websites for that. Some of them will even rate the neighborhood on an A scale to an F scale. And obviously, you don't want to necessarily buy in F areas. Although I would tell you, the hometown that I live in Southeast Idaho, is probably one of the safest cities in the entire United States. And when I looked online at some of this crime data, it had a few areas in the city that I live in as an F. Now, that could just be comparing to an A area to an F area. Maybe there's one crime that happened there and there hasn't been crime in this area for a long time, so automatically got an F. So it might be comparable to the actual city itself, but I'd recommend that you do your research on the crime in the area that you're looking to buy a home. Third thing is, I've secured a handful of investors that are willing to borrow me money over a period of time. Now, why would they do that? Well, obviously, as an investor, if they are getting anywhere between 8, 9, 10, 11, 12% on their money, there are very few places out there that will allow them to do that, right? Plus, they're getting their interest payment plus a principal pay down, and that loan is going to be paid back in 5, 6, or 7 years. The other interesting thing as an investor or a private money lender on this strategy is they are in first position of the home, right? If they don't get payment, then they can ultimately seize the property that is being financed. Now, one thing that I try to do with my private money lenders to give them added security, added benefit, is I will personally guarantee the loan payment to them. So once you have the parameters for the price, you know that it's not in a heavy crime area, and you've got your private money lenders, you need to find buyers for that property. And I've built a network of realtors or lenders, insurance agents, or even people in the area like property management companies that maybe have renters that might be looking to buy. So I've got this pool of resources that I can go and potentially find a buyer for the property and solve a problem that they are looking for because they can't get a home loan right now, or they don't want to because payments might be high, or they might have to put down a significant down payment to get the interest rate lower or the payment lower. And finally, I am pacing out this loan to the private money lender at 5 to 8 years, hopefully 5 years, but I'm becoming the bank and amortizing that that out over a 30-year period of time to the person who's buying the home from me. And ultimately, you can play with the numbers, right? You can play with the interest rates, you can play with the years that you're paying back the private money lender, but ultimately you want to try and get the payment that you receive higher than the payment you're sending out to the private money lender. Now, when it comes to slow flips, this is a cool strategy that I'm doing right now, and I promise you it's one that works in a lot of different markets. You've just got to have those parameters in place when you're looking for property and make sure it's not in a crime-ridden area and that you have lenders that will supply you the money to buy those homes. And I love this strategy, and it's one that I'll probably continue to do, because if I can build up, 50, 100, 200 of these homes over a period of time, and I can pay off the private money lenders in 5 to 6, 7 years, I'm setting myself up or my future generation up for long-term wealth over the long period of time. And that's something that's really exciting. This is kind of a newer strategy, something I've been doing just a short period of time, but I'd love your feedback. Have you heard of this? Are you doing it? Comment. Let's engage in a dialogue. And as always, just for stopping by and watching this video, I've got a free gift for you. It's my short-term rental calculator. You put in the purchase price, the income, the expenses, and it spits out to you whether it's a good deal or not in all areas on short-term rental properties. And it's just on the link below. Click on aaronsfreetraining.com. And as always, have an awesome day.